Hey guys, I wanted to tell you about a book that I recently read and it helped me with my well being and thought processes and all that kind of stuff. Sorry if you can hear a dog in the background, a dog sitting as well. So, the book is called Millionaire Fastlane, and if you want to pick it up, please feel free to do so. But I've noticed that not many people have time or the capacity to read a book with a full time job, so I decided to try and break down the chapters and why it resonated with me. So, this is chapter one, and chapter one is called The Great Deception. So essentially, within the Great Deception, it tells you like in life to get rich when you're like 22, and essentially it says when you're 22, it defines it as young. The only way to get rich while you're young quickly, it seems to be an athlete or rapper or an actor, entertainer, or someone famous essentially. And so, how does a normal person or are not an actor, not an entertainer, and a person that can influence a million people, how does a normal person like myself get rich? And the great deception is the fact that we've been, or in the book it states that we go to school, we get a good grades, get a degree, get a job, and then invest in the stock market. And then by the time we're 65, we will become rich. So I just want to talk about that a little bit because I actually fell in this great deception as well. And I want to talk to you about some of the maths behind this. So essentially, it says get a job, and when you have a job in the UK, you get an ISA, and then within the ISA, you can invest in the market. And I chose the S&P 500, and with that, in about 40 years, you'll be rich. And so I want to show you that on what this definition of being rich is. But essentially, in this book, it also wants to take into account that it shouldn't take you till you're 65, or in this case, if you're 25, when you start at 25, it doesn't. It wants to take into account of how do you get rich while you're young as well. So how do you get rich while you're young and also not wait 40 years? Because right now, it essentially talks about how if you put your money in the market, you are using time as your leverage and not things you can control. And so I thought it might be a good conversation on showing you guys some numbers. So the great deception is the fact that, and there's a movement called FIRE, which I absolutely love and followed for 2-3 years of my life, which is the financial independent retire early. And they'll tell you to get a compound interest calculator. They tell you to start with an initial number, and if you say, I don't know, £500 a month or something, you get, let's just say, 9% with tax free and blah blah blah. And then in a year you'll get, oops, why did that not work? 40 years. In a year you'll get this much money. Now this 2 million seems like a lot of money because you get two. Let's take a screenshot of that. You get 2 million seems like a lot of money. However, another way to work this out is actually what is £1 million, which today can do so and so. If the interest rate is 2% and I put zero, so what would £1 million equivalent in 2% be worth? And if you work that out, and this 2% obviously, this is a lenient measurement, but essentially it says here, oh look, that's quite funny. I have never done this, but 1 million in 2% is worth this much. So essentially in 40 years, you'll have the equivalent of £1 million of in today's money. And that's assuming with the interest rate of 2%, right? And if today is an indicator of anything, right, it's into like 10% right now. If I just inflation rate UK today, yeah, it's not looking great, right? These numbers, and you can't control that. You can't control if the market does well. You can't control if the market will go up 9% every year, and you can't control if this inflation rate goes 2%. And so, I'm happy to share my personal numbers, but essentially the book goes on to say this is a lie. This is not worth it, and it's not worth it. And who wants to be rich when they're 65? And actually, to be fair, I was betting on this 40-year plan, and the argument that I used to give people that do mortgages is like we're like 25, 30 years old, and you're signing up for a 35 to a 40-year mortgage. And I was like, how can you make a promise that you haven't even lived your lifetime for? And actually, same with this. How am I making a bet of 40 years when I haven't even lived for 40 years. I'm only 26. If anything, I should make a bet start lower than this. And 10 of that years I didn't even remember. So I thought that was quite fun to play around. And you know what? It is very fun to play around with the compound interest calculator and do some numbers, do some calculations. But I just wanted to explain chapter 1 in my words, my terms, and hopefully I'll read the other chapters for you guys, and hopefully you guys find it useful. Cool. See you guys in a bit.